Hello, good evening. An unfortunate update that I feel I need to bring to your attention, as I would do with any other lishi pick that has an issue, even ones from ALS or whatever it is. I believe it was the 7x7. It came out and it wasn't working, and immediately told you not to buy them until they were ready. But there is another issue that Brian James messaged me today to suggest that he had a 5-pin lock for the Winkhaus, and he couldn't get a pin lifted without oversetting others. And as I arrived home, I had a couple of Winkhouses turn up, 6-pin key and key. I wasn't able to test in the last video whether or not the cam would pick up on a key and key cylinder. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. So that's a big problem at the moment, because as you can see, the cam goes around on these. You need to pick up the cam on a key and key regardless. It's not anywhere near as forgiving as a thumb turn. So even if we get the core picked, we really can't get this cam picked up unless we bring it right back to resetting the lock again. It needs to be picked up the moment you pick it. So if you have anything other than a thumb turn, it's not gonna pick it. We've seen these cams go round in other people's video when they picked them. My opinion is that it's only just catching some of the cams, and enough with it in your hand to see that go round. The moment you put your finger in its way, it will let go and not be able to flip a mech over, for example. I hope that's not right, but that's the way I'm seeing it at the moment. Anyway, the other issue that we're having here, in all of these locks, pretty much all of them, I'm sure, there is what we might refer to as a zero lift pin. And what I mean by that is a pin that doesn't need picking. The blade itself of the pick holds it at the right height, or in fact it just sits at the shear line as is. So that's fine. The locks I've previously picked, they were in positions 5 or 6 near the back. That's not a rule of the lock. In fact, these that I've just picked up, they were on my driveway from eBay as I got home. Tried picking them without looking at the key, and I got absolutely nowhere, and I think I've got them down pretty much now. So I was wondering why, and I gave up and I had a look at the key, and here is the key. We have our zero lift here at pin number 2, and then some deep ones at the back here. We cannot pick these ones at the back because of this pin up the front. Unfortunately, I have a demonstration here. So I sacrificed one of them. I ripped the clip off, sawed it in half, and ripped the retaining clip off because they're sort of crimped on. Here we have a core sat in this housing to simulate the body of the lock, holds the pick in the right place, so to say. So that is the key that we just looked at, is the one for this. Here it is. I'll put it into the lock here, and we can see. There we are. I'll zoom in on this if I can. You might also notice that we cannot afford to overset any of these pins, as they are spooled key pins. The moment they're overset, we're done for. So let's put the pick in. There we go. Whoop, the pick is all the way inserted. The weight of the arm there pushed those up. I'll bring it all the way out to pin 1 here. So let's angle this so the light shines a little bit. There we are. Now pin 1, there he is. Delightful. They tend to stay hung up on the top of the thing when I let go because of them spool key pins. But so pin 2 as it is, it's already where it needs to be with just the pick being in. I'm not lifting it at all. In fact, I've got it, out of the way, lifted up. So we've got these 2 deep set ones at the back. So let's just go through here. We'll do pin 3. Yeah, no problems for pin 3. And then we'll move to pin 4. Yeah, pin 4 is okay. Everything's clearing. Now pin 5 is a deep set pin. Let's get him to the shear line. Straight away, pin 2 is now oversetting. There we go. Pin 5 is at the shear line and we've overset. In fact, some in front of pin 5 as well are oversetting, but that pin 2 is up above the shear line. Now the same to be said, if we move on to pin 6 and lift that up, by the time it hits the shear line, pin 2 is now protruding and is overset. So we just cannot get that picked without oversetting. And what typically happens when we're picking this lock, as I've been trying, pin 2 is firmly set when we've got tension on. So, whoop, goodness. What I mean by that is, let's say if I hold my finger here and act like the lock, and I try to push down pin 2, it won't let me push it down. It's happy, it's caught on the ledge, on the shear line, and it won't let me do it. So now when I come over here to try and pick pin 6, I cannot physically get it picked enough because pin 2 is blocking the arm of the pick. So the arm here of this pick is hitting the pins before this is gone. So this is not tall enough, this upstand here. That's a mighty shame. Just to demonstrate quickly as well, if I get my cut down key here and put this into the lock, see it's got a bit of spring. I press it in, there we go, the camera's caught it, and now I can no longer rotate it round because the key has engaged it. If we enter the pick into the lock here, come on, get in, there we go, and give it a good chance, hold my finger on the back, press it in pretty hard, it just doesn't catch it almost at all. And you can see it's all the way seated. It's just not grabbing that at all. So we won't get these open. There's too many things that are going to trip me up. I might still keep this in the bag on the off chance that I get lucky with the pins, but this is a similar issue. If we go back and look at these old black ones, see, they noticed that they had also caused this problem, and rather, because they probably produced a lot already, rather than say, sorry, you know, we're going to remake it or whatever, they just simply engraved on the arm here 80% coverage without pins 8 or 9. So what they're saying is, if it had a pin height 8 or 9 in the lock, you're not going to get it open because it's the same problem. The blade itself was left too long and it overset them straight away, and etc, etc, and this wasn't tall enough. So it's the same issue there, unfortunately, and I fear that maybe Jason has had a whole bunch made and they're not going to fix these issues, but they do need fixing for this pick to be a working pick. Unfortunately, not this one, of course, this one. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, and I don't like to do that, especially when it's a friend's tool. I really wanted it to be successful because I really need this pick to work for me. But I would do it the same for any other lishi that I review. I will come back if I find something to reiterate. So, like I say, sorry for the bad news. If you are getting locks open with it, fantastic. I wish you all the best of luck with it. It's just not one that's valid for me, I'm afraid. Thanks for watching.